Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, good evening, sir. What's going on?
Good evening, Bryant. All is well. Doing great. Enjoying the spring. Had a great Easter weekend hanging out with the family on the back deck.
Nice.
And here we are on Monday night with another special guest.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited about it. We had a great weekend as well. It was great watching the kids hunt our Easter eggs and then watching a handful of us adults trying to find all the ones that were out there still. So good time, though. Good time.
Speaking of men, I know we've been talking a lot about men lately, and I have my favorite dad joke. High speed, low drag, hard hitting, quick. You ready?
Yeah, I can't remember which one of these buttons is the laugh button. So you might, yeah, go ahead. What you got?
What do you call fly with no wings?
I don't know.
A walk.
Oh, that's horrible.
Isn't that great? That's a great dad joke. It is. I think he said that when we were like 5 years old. So it's all good.
All right.
Take that one anywhere.
All right, I'm good.
Sorry about that. I don't know. I'm not sure where that came from.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject matter at hand here. I think we figured out that comedy is not our niche.
You said that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Yes, and also there's other things that we should stay away from, like wildlife terminology. As far as what a group of deer are called and what baby foxes are called and so on. We have accurate info on that now, though.
Yes, we do.
We got all tangled up on that last week. All right, so we got to dive in here. We've got this awesome gentleman on the podcast here with us tonight, and I gotta do a little introduction here to let folks know who this man is. I had the pleasure of watching a podcast, or actually a YouTube video that he did a couple of weeks ago with George Bruno, right? Folks that listen and watch this know that George was on here a couple of weeks ago, and just a very interesting guy. Well, I was intrigued by the conversation that Steve and George were having, and apparently they talked about George's experience on here, and Steve was interested in being a guest as well. So this gentleman's name is Steve the Dean Williams. He's our guest tonight. And just a little bit about Steve is over 30 years now, Steve's been helping men all over the world create their own personalized dating blueprint by standing on their name. He's an expert in relationships of all stages, from single life to married life and all points in between. He teaches men and women how to unplug themselves from the dating matrix of TV, radio, and magazines. Steve's upfront, no-nonsense, blunt dating advice goes against everything people have been taught. You can find him on the web at www.themanmindset.com. And Steve, like I said, man, I enjoyed listening to the back and forth and the conversation you had with George, and I'm very, very excited to hear what you have to say tonight. So welcome.
Thank you very much for having me on, gentlemen. I appreciate that.
All right. So Kevin, you want to dive right in and ask Steve a question, or how would we like to start this?
Yeah. So we'll start with the audience can't see it at the moment unless he stands up a little bit, but he's wearing a Cowboys t-shirt there. There we go. There we go. Yeah. And we're recording here in the team formerly known as the Redskins territory, but you're from DC.
Yes.
And I don't know, how did that happen? Have you changed colors? Have you changed uniforms?
No, I was again. I just didn't go with the flow. Everybody liked the Redskins. I came in basically when Roger Staubach was leaving, so I was team Danny White. That
Danny
was my
White.
quarterback. Yeah. So I just loved the fact that they were hated, and the fact that they were hated. I was like, oh, I love these guys. I love the villain. Like Negan on. So I love those kind of villain type guys. So, but to make you feel better. I kind of cried a little bit when Dexter Manley hit Danny White in the NFC Championship game and gave him a concussion and Hogo Boom messed up. But that's here nor there. But yes, I ride and die with my Cowboys.
Sweetness and light. All right. All right. There's a few grains of goodness in there.
I have no doubt there's some other Cowboy fans that are listening or watching this for sure.
Okay, so I will dive in. I enjoyed getting to know you virtually over the past few days as we were talking about having you on. And by the way, it's a real honor to have you and all that you've done and all of the people that you've helped. But there was one thing that I wanted to start with that I thought was particularly valuable because I think it is an issue that many, many people suffer from. And it was this whole idea that each one of us as individuals are unique. That we're one of a kind.
Yes.
And that is something that we should leverage to the maximum extent possible when it comes to relationships, life, approach, anything. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. See, to start it off, I always teach guys there are 3 really laws that you must follow as a man. And that's the law of the land. Don't kill anybody because they'll get you in the first 48 and sometimes. The law of the street, don't drive past 20 miles an hour in the school zone if you're not supposed to. And the law of your job. Those are the 3 laws I always tell men they got to abide by. But they don't know that they can create their own universe because nobody ever told them that they were unique. And what makes every man unique is that they're the only one of their kind, and they were the only one that got to the egg. See, most people hear this cliche that, you were born a winner. And the thing is that you were really born a winner. When your mom and dad met, and the great race started, you beat out millions of your brothers and sisters to reach that egg. So I always tell guys is that you have drive, you have determination, you have discipline, and you have a no nonsense of getting to what you want to get at. Because that's if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be here right now. So it's just that's the first connection. Then as you were born, your fingerprint is your marker to show the world that you are not like everybody else. Yeah, sure, we may look alike, depending on skin tones and things like that. You can separate a man from a woman, but you cannot place everybody in one lump. And I think people don't understand that. So what I tell them as far as their fingerprint goes is that you're an alien in this world. You're only one of your kind in this world. So why not learn your language? Because we all have our own language that we want to learn. But unfortunately, because of the media, the advertisers and things like that, it forces people to follow someone else's media. And you can't be the best number 2 somebody. And that's why I'm trying to get them back to their fingerprint and their name.
So let me just ask you one more quick question. I was actually having this conversation with my daughter over the weekend, and my daughter's a foodie. And she is starting a food blog. Mm-hmm. And she was telling me this story about how she was doing a bunch of research and trying to psych out her audience and figure out who she could appeal to and how she could write to appeal to them and what would capture attention and so on. And as I watched her struggle with this issue, I was thinking to myself, just stop the madness. Be you. Do your own thing. Yeah. What would be your advice to my daughter be?
My advice to your daughter is exactly what you said. See, people are too busy looking at what they think everybody wants them to be versus just being. Yeah. See, the thing that will make your daughter unique is just being her. If she sticks to who she is, we've never met her before. You know her because you're a father, but as a viewer, I've never met her before. So anything that she does that's original to us is going to be welcomed easily because she's not trying to portray, oh, wait a second, that woman is being like that woman on TV, or, oh, no, she's trying to be like that woman. You don't want to try to be like everyone else. I know it sounds crazy, getting cliche, but just be yourself and ride on what you know and give information off of what you know and then let that fall where it may.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, because people can see authenticity, and they can tell when you're putting on an act or when you're just being yourself. I think people that are paying attention can anyways.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, the thing about being authentic, it's easy if you're just being yourself, because as we've said already, there's nobody like you. So just be you. And as we know, everybody wants the next new thing. And the next new thing is something that's different than the direction that everybody else is going. So awesome. Some good wisdom of the ages there.
So I have a question, Steve. When you're helping folks, is it fair to say the majority of your clients are men?
Yes, majority. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I was intrigued. So you've been married for what, 20 plus years now?
21.
And so you do stuff that's applicable to married couples as well. And I want to kind of go down that path a little bit, because I know that a lot of the folks that listen and watch this podcast are married people, and like anybody else out there in the world might periodically have some challenges and so on. So I was curious what advice you might have for married couples, or couples in general. They don't necessarily have to be married, but what key ingredients do you believe are necessary for a successful relationship over the long haul?
Oh, well, okay. We're talking long haul. I always what I've created as a process, a blueprint of how you're supposed to see how a man should see relationships. There's the meeting and dating phase. There's the relationship phase. There's the moving phase. There's the engagement phase and the marriage phase. And the beautiful thing about it is all those phases are different phases. See, we're taught to go from meeting and dating, and we're taught to skip through all these things, get engaged and get married without having to set the standard for the woman, as well as her setting the standard for you. And what I teach my clients is that meeting and dating is not a relationship, two totally different things, because that you're going, technically you and her are moving up the ladder. So the higher you get to my name, which is the most important thing to me, that there are there are expectations that I'm going to have of you, but also you're allowed to have expectations of me. And that's something that couples don't have. So if we're meeting and dating, I've got to know what my expectations are of you as far as meeting and dating. And that's why I always say, if we move forward, we sit down and have a powwow of expectations. I mean, the job does it. Why can't we? This is what I expect. And you can tell me what you expect, because it's not a dictatorship. This is us moving towards something. So every phase, I mean, and I could go on this for long, but I would kind of every phase, unless you'd like to know more, but every phase is a series of things that I look for and things that she should want. And if we cannot hit 70% of those things, we're not going to move forward. We're going to either fall back or we're not going to see each other at all.
That makes sense. Yeah, when you break it down like that, yeah, because those absolutely are different elements or different. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I mean, we do this for 45 minutes. If you can, kind of bullet each, I'm interested. Actually, yeah. I'm interested in what the highlights are of those, and I think our listeners will too. If you can. Okay,
quick example. Okay, let's go to all right. Let's move to living together, engagement, and marriage. Let's get to those last ones. Just
okay. All right.
So before I give you a key, I'm going to get with you and let you know I want to get a joint bank account with you. Now, a lot of people will be shocked. What do you mean get a joint bank account with her? Okay, the reason I'm saying that is because if our bills, and that's just the rent, electricity, and entertainment, that's it. If it equals $1,000 hypothetically, you put $500 in the account, I put $500 in the account. Your money is yours. My money is mine. What I'm looking for is someone that can handle their money and manage their money without saying that. So when it comes time to pay the bills, we just tap in for entertainment. We tap into the joint bank account. I won't touch yours. You won't touch mine. So that's just a example of the living together. Now, the engagement is really important, because at the engagement point, we have to have a longer power, because I need to see the books. I need to see your credit score. I need to see how much debt you accumulated, because I'm not going to take on your debt. I need to see all these things. Matter of fact, we're also going to talk about a wedding. We either do courthouse or Vegas. We're not going to spend a lot of money on that because I've got future plans. I mean, I've got ideas to lead the marriage. So we're not going to spend $35,000 or $100,000 just so you can show off in front of your girlfriends for one day. No, we're not about that. We're about keeping our business off the street and building ourselves up, building my name. In order to do that, again, I marry for children, for legacy and bloodline. So what we do is we got to talk religion. We have to talk politics. We got to talk discipline. We got to talk schooling. We got to talk about Christmas, Halloween. How do we celebrate these things? Because we have to create a front from the get-go. We've got to talk about college aspirations. We got to talk about PTA meetings. We have to talk about making sure that the children are honor roll students and things like that. So it's not just, let's get married. It's okay. Now we're in the business. Now we got to get rid of the debt. We got to talk about the debt and all this other stuff. And we got to move forward. So for me, as your example, there was a plan of attack. It was the first thing we did, we were living in an apartment. And then from an apartment, the plan was to rent a house, which we did. Then after we rented a house, the next phase was to buy a house, which we did. And then the next phase was to build a house. And we did that. So we're in year 10 of building the house. Now we're selling that house now because we're moving to the last phase of grandparent phase. We were going to buy 5 acres of land and build another house on that. But the reason we got there was because of the plan that we created in the engagement phase, where we're not here to keep up with the Joneses. We're not here to waste money and things like that. I'm not about that. I'm about pushing my legacy, pushing family, and working towards being something greater. So, that's just an example right there.
That's great stuff. And I just speak for myself here. Many of those questions that you, or those issues that you identified were not something that I certainly talked about.
No, I did not either.
Yeah.
And I have been happily married for, and I'm doing the math in my head here. What is it? 33 years this year, I think.
Right.
But we,
your wife, I'm saying 33 years is great, but women are not, your wife is not like women today. Right. So
what I was saying though is, man, that would have been great information to have then, before this happened. And the fact that you have it mapped out like that and can share it with other people, that can absolutely add to the longevity and success potential of those relationships. So that's good stuff. I'm going to make sure that my daughters, they're already married, but I want to make sure they watch this as well. So good stuff.
Yeah, it's the one thing that people lack nowadays is communication. I need you to understand me, and I want to understand you, but we have to understand there's a bigger picture here. And for me, marriage to me was legacy. I'm arrogant. I wanted to carbon myself. Y'all can see how arrogant I am. So I wanted more of me, right? Yeah. I wanted more of me. So I needed to make sure that the woman that is going to take my seed is the woman that can be the mother that I need her to be for the boys or the girls.
I have a 2-part question.
All right.
Now I want to go all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
Because the fact that you had the presence of mind to ask these questions when you were getting started, what was it about the way that you were brought up, or the environment, or the culture, or something? There's something about you as a young man that set you on this path. What was that? And I asked that question with the intention of helping young parents put their kids on a right path to go in a direction that's helpful. And then second of all, did you have over time, who were some of your key mentors or key influences, if you didn't know the people that helped you continue to learn and grow? So
I can okay. My dad, I had a stepdad and my dad, my father. My father was, we already know Ted Williams. He's Fox News. So
right.
His personality, you could see that's where I got my personality from him. He was a ladies' man as well, but he had personality. Now my stepdad, he was more hard, rough around the edges, where he was more no nonsense. So I was lucky enough to get kind of 2 simultaneously types of personalities inside of me, number one. So that's that part. But then I met a mentor that taught me the game. I mean, the game, the game being what I am, but he taught me about me in a way that my father couldn't explain how he got women. It was just his personality. He was just infectious with me. He could just talk to a woman and just boom, boom. He had it. And when some people have it, they can't really explain what it is. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what it was, but I knew that because they always call me Little Ted. So I just wanted to emulate my dad and everything.
Right.
So as emulate my dad, easy talk to women, talk to girls, but I met my main mentor. He was on the basketball court. He was the kind of guy that all the girls would bring him a McDonald's, Gatorades, crying and all that. I mean, it was a soap opera every day. So as a 9-year-old kid, you're like, hey, teach us what because he was the guy. The guys loved him. The women loved him. What was it about this guy? And part of me, I've always been curious. I've always wanted to go out and learn more about things. So we finally got him down to teaching us. And the first lesson he gave us, he asked us, how many of y'all want money? And all of us little 9-year-old kids, some a little bit older, we all rose our hand. Yes, I want money. So he pulled out nickels, dimes, and pennies and threw it on the concrete and just stood there. And whoever went down there and got the money, he said, get on that side. Everybody else get the F out of my face. I mean, he was hardcore. I mean, no nonsense. But he was saying that the first lesson to be a real man or get this down is that your thoughts must be in line with your behavior. See, when I ask you that you wanted money, most people think money is a $5 bill, a dollar bill, or a $10 or a $20 bill. But that penny that you got down and get is a penny more in your bank account. That nickels are more. So that was the first lesson that was learned. So
wow.
From that point, it was like, okay, wow. I mean, that was like for a little younger, it was like mind blowing. So it was kind of like Neo getting that first taste of that matrix. So I wanted to learn more about me. And I learned that I didn't know anything. I thought I knew because I had girls, but I had no idea that the game was never about girls. It was never about women. It was never about those things. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that it's all about me and who I am. And I have to take the journey to me to create the best me I could create, to not beg a woman and not try to prove myself to a woman, but to position myself to show the woman what she will get if she invests herself in me.
That's that is not typical advice today.
No, he thoroughly answered your question, though, man. That was spot on.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. And that brings us back to that, the question and what we've said about mentors over and over again, the importance of having somebody in your life or multiple people in your life that are mentoring you. And it doesn't have to be somebody personally. It can be somebody that you watch YouTube videos of or watch, other information that they're putting out there on their website, et cetera, books and so on. Yeah, absolutely. That's good stuff.
But you have to be careful about the false prophet now, because everybody is trying to get what we call the money bag. And we're in a time right now where a lot of young men are being taught not to want to be married. They're being taught not to want to have kids. They're being taught that women are the scourge of the earth. So it's kind of like a battle that's going on the internet for those that push family, unity, bonds versus those that want to complain, whine, and moan. So it's kind of like a little war going on right now.
Well, not only that, but there's also a lot of, especially at the university level, there's a lot of information coming into everybody's head that it's, this whole issue of toxic masculinity, and that it's not good to be a strong man, and that's not the way to go forward. And I saw you shake your head. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's funny about that. See, the thing that I teach my clients is like, they're always saying, well, the woman's profile says, she's holding a kitty cat and she's got her head turned, and, I'm looking for a good guy to take long walks, and, you roll the boat while I twirl my, all those little things. Right? I tell the guys, that's not for us. I say that's none of our business. All that stuff that they're saying, that's not for us. All these I want is not for a man. I'm here to fulfill a need. I'm not here to fulfill a want. So what media is doing, advertisers and all this other stuff, what they're doing is they're trying to tell young men what they think masculinity or manhood is versus those who already been like, y'all have the beards, even because I used to watch Kung Fu movies, the master was always the one with the whitest beard. The white beard showed longevity. It showed information is here. So yeah, it's not the new shiny object. It's the old school person that was there before the internet. See, we were around, all of us, we were before the internet, where you had to, I like you, do you like me, check the box, yes or no. We had to go to phone, when we talked to girls, if you didn't go over there and talk to her, you was not going to get her. The people that we knew were only in our neighborhoods, a little bit out the side of the city, and rarely outside the state. Because if we did, we had pen pals. There was 10, 10, 3, 2, 1 back then. I mean, I go old school, but y'all see what I'm saying. It was definitely a different time for us, and that's why men like what I do, I thrive, and the guys I teach thrive because I'm showing them things that happened before the internet versus where people are in the internet are doing that thing. So.
Complicates the hell out of things too.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, I think there's so many good things that the internet and technology have brought to our lives, and I think that it's overshadowed, and it's overshadowed by a lot of negative things that have we've suffered from and don't do anymore because we need to figure out a way to change course there and get people back to doing things that we've done years ago. And I love what you're doing, man. Just like talking with George about, the fact that so many women are interested in these conversations that, folks like you and him are having when it talks about, the older school values and behaviors and so on.
Oh, yes.
People are starting to come back around, I think, because they're not getting the fulfillment that they need in this modern technological age.
Right, because remember before when the internet started, if it's on the internet, it's real, right? That's what they used to
bonjour.
Think. Right, all that. So it's not really. So what I try to get people to come back to is to come back to their name. See, we have lost the proudness and how it felt, the family name. And I always tell everyone that listens to me, depending on where you were or your race, you either came on top of the boat or below the boat, one or the other, but you came in on the boat one way or the other.
Right.
But however they came in on the boat, they were proud of who they were, and they wanted to have a son. They wanted someone to carry over the bloodline because the family name meant everything. And again, but I tell guys as well, don't get married now if you're not, if you don't have a foundation of self. Don't get married and really don't even be in a relationship because it's gonna crumble. But I mean, it's just so many things that they need to learn that we have to unfix and take all that wiring out because there's a lot of bad wiring in a lot of these young men and they have no idea that's going on, man.
So why is that? Why did that happen? What's gone sort of wrong? Wrong maybe is not the right word. Where do we go off the rails? Yeah.
We went off the rails. Okay. So I would say the black community is when they took the fathers out of the home, that began the derailing. But for everybody, I would say that happened in the 80s. Because in the 80s, what happened, remember Murphy Brown. People don't remember, it's a TV show named Murphy Brown. She started promoting a single mother being pregnant. She started promoting pregnancy, right? Remember that?
Right.
So they had that, and then we had, remember, I'd say at one time, men and women didn't really hang out unless it was for more relationship-wise. So then they came out with a show called Saved by the Bell, then Beverly Hills 90210, and that pushed Martin, Living Single, How I Met Your Mother, Seinfeld. They were for Beverly, all these places, Melrose Place. They were always forcing people to be programmed to think that men and women should just be the best of friends, like lions and zebras hanging out in the Serengeti, gossiping and all that. But the one thing that they did that was great, that they call their Easter eggs, like in video games, they got an Easter egg. in every one of those shows, they always had the bad boy. At least they had the bad. They always had the they call him the a-hole.
Right.
But a-hole isn't really an a-hole's a nice guy that just has a standard. That's why they call him an a-hole. But in every show, they always had that one guy to keep the balance. But people didn't really know that a-hole was how you supposed to be in life, because a-hole got all the women at the end of the day anyway. So,
right.
But yeah, it was that then rap music came in, and it told girls that, you pop your behind, dress hair, and what was it in the 70s? You remember if someone got pregnant, you shipped them down to
That's right.
You shipped them down to auntie's house, or they were up in the attic. Something that was like, we don't do that. But they started Teen Mom and things like that. MTV started saying, it's okay to have kids,
yeah,
right? And without a dad in the household to guide these kids, they just started to run amok. So it's a combination of things, but yeah, it started back then, and around when we were around. So yeah.
I wanted to hit on something.
That's a head shaker. When you
I know.
You're absolutely correct, and I agree with you. It's just a head shaker when you think about it, and how we let the information that's being programmed into us either positively or negatively impact us. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's all of those things that you just mentioned have really caused our society to veer off a path, and the slow and true degradation of values in America.
And I just want to say one thing real quick. And it's no knock on women and no knock on mom, because mom, your mothers, if they're still alive, you're their baby. You'll always be seen as your mother's baby. And right. If any moment you want to say, Mom, I'm coming home, she'll welcome you with open arms.
Right.
But that's the problem with young men. See, young men have to learn how to. There was always that umbilical cord cut, where you love mom, but you didn't relate to mom. You started to have to step away from mom and start to relate more to dad. And that was a gap that a lot of young men, they missed out on. That's why they relate more to mom, because they can't see dad because mom doesn't want it. There's several reasons, but dad isn't around to show them how men really act and behave.
So I can actually tell a story about that in my own upbringing. Man, you nailed it with that one. And here is my personal experience. My father said to all, I was the youngest of 4 siblings, and he said to us as we were growing up, when you turn 18, you're gone. You're out of the house. You're never coming back. You can come back for a visit every once in a while and hang out, and we'd love to see you, but you are moving out of this house. You are on your own. You are taking care of yourself. Yes. And oh, by the way, I'm a school teacher. My wife doesn't work, your mother. She doesn't earn money. She takes care of everything going on here. But you're out of the house. You're not coming back, and you're not relying on me for any kind of income. When you're growing up and you hear that, you're like, I better get my shit together, because yeah. when I get out at 18, I got to be able to take care of myself. And that's the way it was. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah. So even for me, that's what my dad told me. Hey, look, college or military, you got a choice, but you ain't going to be here. And I was like, all right, I'll go military. That's why I push military for these guys as well. But yeah, it's just that unfortunately right now, these young boys that are connected to this matrix, they still have the umbilical cord attached to mom on a mental level, where they're acting more like mom than dad, and they don't even realize what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your service, by the way. Army veteran, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We got 3 of the services covered tonight.
Yeah, there you go. My dad was in the Navy too. My father was in the Army. So my real father was in the Army. My stepdad was in the Navy. So yeah, so
nice.
All those are good, but there's one elite maritime fleet of the nation. Marine. That's the United States Coast Guard.
Oh, Coast Guard. Oh, okay. Coast Guard, no doubt.
Sing it, man. Sing it.
I'm singing it.
And I don't mean really sing. We don't want you doing that.
Oh man, I almost broke out in song.
He does that to me when we start getting ready for the podcast. And as soon as the mics go live, he starts singing. And then when I don't react, he's like, man, it's like you're just ignoring my singing. I'm like, dude, I am trying.
I think I sing pretty well. I think I sing pretty well.
Yeah. Hey, if you think you sing pretty well, stand on it. That's what we talk about, stand on your square. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody.
It's unique.
Oh, it's unique, no doubt. It's all
you.
Nobody else can sing like that.
No, that's right.
I'm embracing it. I'm going for it.
That's awesome, man. So I want to go back to the relationship questions a little bit more.
Sure.
And just I want to dive into a certain subject matter. So when you're dealing with issues of trust, right?
Yes.
So and you said something earlier about, if you don't have a solid foundation of self,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not ready to take relationships to the next level. And I think that is very powerful. What do you do when you're in a situation where somebody is struggling with insecurity and behavior is, they're acting out as a result of that, when I believe what ultimately is going on is there's a challenge with that self and that solid foundation. So what guidance could you offer someone there?
Well, when it comes to leadership, and I tell guys all the time, you got to look at yourself as a Fortune 500 company. You have to have a vision statement, mission statement, legacy statement. You have to have laws, rules, codes, narratives. You have to have a solid foundation. That's what we see in the streets. We call it standing on your square. So you got to stand on your square, basically. And that means you're never moved from it. That means, like, I guess y'all, I don't know if y'all are Trekkies, but I watch Star Trek. And you know what? One thing I would learn from Captain Kirk, even as a young kid, is that, you know what? You got to make tough decisions. They always had that Yeoman Henson guy, that no-name guy that usually died in every episode.
Right.
Kirk had to make a decision. Do I save Yeoman Henson and lose the Enterprise? Or do I let Yeoman Henson go to save the Enterprise? So you're king and you're a man. And, all the decisions are not going to be sunshine and rainbow decisions, but they have to be decisions that you can live with at the end of the night. And as a man, I was taught that, I have to learn to say no, and I have to learn how to walk away. You got to learn those things, because sometimes when you're with somebody and you're really in love and you put all your feelings into that person, sometimes that person can just walk all over you and just crush your feelings, or utilize your feelings to manipulate you to get what they want. I mean, it's just a real great chess game. So the way I would tell that guy to eliminate it is he's got to learn how to set the standard. And I always say, everything you had to do as a man, you've got to stand on it. You got to fight for it. You got to know why you're doing it. And you got to not necessarily die for it, but love it so much where you like, I'm going to fight for this thing till death. And when you have that standard, that's when you let the woman know, I am a drama-free man. If anybody brings any drama into my life, that's man, woman, elf, smurf, or unicorn, brings drama into my life, I'm gone. That's it. It's sometimes, guys, it's so easy. It's complicated because it's as easy as saying no. And listen, it's not, if you mess up one time, I'm just walking away. No, we'll talk about it, but I'll let you know the next time this happens again, I'm gone. I love me too much. I love me too much to sit around and have to beg a woman to either love me or treat me right. She has every right to do what she wants to do to you, but I got every right to walk away. And that's what I would tell that guy.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
You know what?
I love that behind you and how you make that reference to it. And something you said the other night when I was listening to the video with you and George, or watching that, you said that, you have to have the mindset that, yes, I love you. I love this woman or whoever this is that you're in a relationship with. Yeah, exactly. And I love myself just this much more. Yes. And that is powerful. That is very, very powerful.
I love her curves. I love the way she walks. I love the way she looks when she comes out of the shower. I love her way.
Ooh, Nelly.
I love all that stuff. But let me tell you again, I love me that much more. And that's the thing, that if a disrespect comes into my universe or my castle, I'm going to try to fix it. But if I cannot fix it, I'm gone. And you sing a song. I sing a song too called Me, 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 I, My. That's my song, all about me. Yes.
Nice.
Wow. All right. That's actually, we spoke a couple, I don't know, a number of podcasts ago about the issue of boundaries and setting them. And Bryant coined a phrase or coined an acronym, right? I don't know, you're old and you might not remember this, but it was ICE. He used the word ICE to deal with boundaries. And so the I was identify what it is for you. The C was communicate it, talk about it back and forth, and E was enforce it. And that's exactly what you just said. You know, those are the boundaries. Here's where I stand. This is what I will put up with. This is what I won't put up with. And if you cross that line, yeah, you're right. Maybe you get away with it once, but the second time, I'm out of here.
Right. And I'm not saying I say this is mine. This is me.
Right.
This is mine. I'm not saying you. See, the one thing you don't do is you don't ever try to force a woman to change for you. You never dangle things in front of her head, because if she does it later on, she's going to regret it later on, because she feels like she's being manipulated to do something she never wanted to do in the first place. So again, I just position myself. If you want to be a part of my universe, these are the rules. And you can like it or not. I'm not mad at you. But if you have a problem, the problem isn't my problem. The problem is your problem that you don't like it. And guess what? There is thy door.
All right. So I got to jump in there. There are people who will be listening and hear what you just said. You don't strike me as a selfish guy. Nope. And they will say, that sounds selfish. Well, how do you react to that? You know, because it's all about you.
Well, last I checked, she was going after my last name and my ring. I mean, last I checked.
Yeah.
So what are you doing other than bringing your body to the table? Because if all you're doing is bring your body to the table, that's not going to work out. Because I need a woman that's going to elevate herself on her own while I'm elevating, because I'm always evolving. So you got to keep up with me. I'm always at 11. The worst day of my life, other than the Danny White Redskin thing that we talk about, is that I've got to let myself go at 11:59. Who I am today. I love him. I'm infatuated with him. I stalk him. And I've always put out restraining orders against him, because all I do is follow him around. I'm so infatuated with that guy, but I'm not going to turn around again. But you see what I'm saying? Right. But what I'm saying is that for her to understand, I'm not selfish. I'm just about understanding me. What most people do is they're trying to please everybody without pleasing themselves first.
Yeah.
And I believe everybody should please themselves. And I expect a woman that's with me to please herself. It's not that we're going to have arguments and debates, but you're allowed to feel what you want to feel. But I'm not trying to get your last name. I'm not trying to get you to get on a knee and propose to me. You want to be with me. So these are the rules. If you want to, and that person that say that real quick is, well, if you want to go to a job, the job is going to do the same thing. The job is going to sit there and say, this is the standard. This is what we expect of you. This is the time you're coming in. This is where you're going to take lunch. Now, the salary can be negotiated, but if you want to be in my office, this is what you're going to do. You can't tell them, well, that's pretty selfish. You can't tell them that.
There you go.
Say me. Right. Yeah, it's always a solution.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Yeah, I don't equate that to being selfish. In my mind, that's self-care, man. That's taking care of you.
Yeah.
And you know, like we said earlier, you know, you don't have a solid foundation of you, you know, yourself, then you're never going to be able to fully contribute to relationships with other people. Exactly. And that's where it's got to start.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I know people who who can interpret that the same way.
Well, a lot. Well, see, but if you look at it, I can understand women interpret it that way. But if a guy interprets that, then that you can tell that's mommy. That's an emotional reaction to something that they can't. When we process information, depending on how we stand, is how we're going to act to that information. Because there's never a thing that I say women are bad. I never said it's that I'm the dictator. I never said that at all. All I am talking about is me. And that's it. And it's nothing wrong with talking about yourself when you love yourself so much, because you will not put up with any disrespect. And that's hard to process for people who've never done that before.
Right.
Yeah. And I love the no drama, right? Declare yourself a drama-free zone.
Drama-free. See, if y'all watching my Easter game, y'all should have did the Easter game. See, you could have done the things with the kids for Easter. And then you could have went to Party City and got some handcuffs, blindfold, and rope. Got an Easter basket. No, I'm serious. Hold on, let me show you.
All right.
I got it right here. See, I got part of my Easter game, but I teach my guys how to be great in bed with women and keep the fire going. But you could have got your own little Easter egg basket and take the handcuffs and everything and put it in the basket and then put the green stuff on there and then type up sexual things that you want to do to your wife and you want her to do to you. You put them in eggs and you hide the eggs all over. Now, when the kids go to sleep, of course, you hide all the eggs, give her the basket and let her go Easter egg hunting and it'll be a moment. But that's game right there. So
I got to find out where my wife put those eggs away. That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. I can't wait for next Easter.
It can be Easter every day.
It can be Easter every day. It can be Christmas. It can be anything. Yeah, I'm gonna make up some sort of.
That's game right there.
That's right. I'm not sure why I thought of this, but no, I do know. I thought it had to do with we live in this internet age where everything out there, and so something you said 10 years ago, somebody comes back and beats you over the head with it. And one of the things that I appreciate, and this can happen in relationships as well. You would post something that was, I don't know, something that somebody will look at 10 years from now and decide to reject you because of something that you did 10 years ago.
Yes.
And that's fine. But one of the things that I actually appreciate very much is anyone who says that's who I was at that time, unless they were being fake about it, but they own it and they don't apologize for it. It's all of these people who curl under and coil under and go, oh, I'm so sorry. I think I need to resign. Yes, you can cancel me. Oh, I'm going to go away now. And I hate that.
Yeah.
So do women. And that's where a lot of guys go wrong because they're always, every move that you make should be a move of a king. You must process the information and think about the things that come out of your mouth and begin. Whatever you say, you got to stand on it. Again, stand on it, own it, know why. It goes back, it reinforces what I said earlier. I don't apologize for being a whore because I'll never apologize because that's what makes me so smooth right now. I mean, it helped me in the back moment, but I'm never going to say sorry for something that I was because that's who I was at that time, but I don't have to prove that. See, too many young men today are trying to prove themselves to women versus position. They don't understand the difference. I just moved the chess pieces to position to show you why you should be with a great man like me. But I'm not going to bend over backwards and take you to a fancy restaurant and you can tell me the sky is green and the grass is blue, and I'm going to agree with you to think that you're going to get everything. No, Clear, concise, transparent. What you see is what you get. And again, you can like it, you can love it, or you can leave, and I'm good. I'll sleep like a baby. Hell, I even put my thumb in my mouth. I'll sleep so good.
Amen.
Amen. Tell you what, man, there's a lot of things I think that not just young men, but men in general could learn from you and folks that are communicating the type of message that you're putting out there. So that's good stuff. And I know I called out your website. So the manmindset.com, where else can folks, is that the best place to find information about you?
Or go to youtube.com/Steve Williams. I've been on so long, so I got my own name. So it's like Steve Williams. Yeah. So you can just go to youtube.com/Steve Williams or type up the Man Mindset and I'll pull up. So either way.
Gotcha. No, we intended to ask you this before we started recording and completely forgot. I love the Steve the Dean Williams.
Yes.
What's in a name? What's behind that?
The Dean is because when I got out the game, when I got married, I retired. So then I started teaching. So that's why I took on the Dean.
There you go. That's cool.
Yeah. So I become more of a professor. I'm more, I'm living I have done everything that you want to do. So I'm here. I'm successful. My kids are, for the first time in the history of the Williamses, 2 children, one's in Baylor and they're both in the medical field. So First time, you know, honor roll. The other one's doing, got an engineer coming up, all straight A students, no problems, no slamming doors, no issues. Okay, I say in 21 years, I got in trouble 5 times, and I always talk about this, is that I'm a workaholic. So I work probably to 3, 4 in the morning, and 5 times I fell asleep in the office because the old lady's always asking, you know, just come to bed when you're tired. So 5 times I didn't, but there's no, you see, people think that you have to argue and fight, and that, you know, they always say that's relationships, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. It's so sunshine and rainbow. I can go out my door right now and the deer, like, look, Snow White, the deer and the birds that come on my shoulder, the squirrels that come up to me, because everything's perfect in my universe because I created it.
Yeah. All right. Didn't Baylor just make it? Speaking of Baylor, didn't they just make it?
Yeah. Baylor's doing something.
They're in the final dance.
Yeah, the final. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Very cool.
Wow.
That's one of the things that I was drawn to and respect about you is you are not just preaching theory, right? So you're not sharing ideas about how you believe things should be. You are talking real deal stuff that you know because you've walked and lived it. And that's powerful.
I'll be 50 in August. So for doing the math, 49 years? Wait, is it 49 years? Yeah, 49 years. Started at 9. So yeah, 41 years. 41 years getting into the game. But, you know, on the internet, it's been long. But yeah, but I've done it all. I mean, I've literally done it all. Nothing bisexual or nothing like that, but you know what I mean. But I'm just saying that I've done it all. And it's not about the time, because everybody thinks, well, you're old, and what do you know about this? But the game, like life, is going to move with or without us. And that's what people don't understand. The game was here before us, is here during, and when we go away, it's going to still move on with it. So it's always there, man.
I got to say one more thing before you sign off, Bryant. He said something that I think is cool, and I love it. I was actually saying to my wife recently, no, she was saying to me, we're in a good phase right now. And she kind of looked around and said, man, we are so lucky. And I said, oh no, we are not lucky. We created this. This is a situation that we created, and we're fortunate. Yes, indeed. We're fortunate that we had an environment where we could create this world, but we weren't lucky. This didn't happen by accident. Right. There's a great lesson in there for anybody.
Everyone. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. As long as you create it, I don't believe in luck. There's no luck. There's me.
Right.
I'm sorry. There's me. So I'm sorry. I got to keep looking at it.
Dude, that is badass, man. I love that.
I'm with him. Wait, with my Roman one. See, this is my new one I got. Let me show you.
All roads lead to Steve. Yes.
This is my Roman Steve. See, this
all roads lead to Roman Steve. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Is that a picture, a painting?
Why don't we have one of those?
It's a painting.
That's pretty cool.
Wait, one more. My regal king, my regal Steve.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So so I love some Steve, as y'all can see, but why shouldn't you? I mean,
we're gonna have to upgrade the set here, Kevin. I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what have we not talked about? What questions have we not asked you that we should? One tidbit you just have to share with folks before we wrap this up for the evening.
The greatest tidbit I share with everybody is that before you close your eyes at night and go to sleep, I always tell everybody to think about the graveyard. Just take a moment when you go to bed, think about the graveyard, because everybody in there had one thing in common, and that is they thought they had tomorrow coming to them. So you don't have tomorrow coming to you, so you have to live every day like it is your last. I'm not trying to wish anything or bad on you, but I'm just saying that you have to be appreciative of what you have. And then when you wake up in the morning, you should be appreciative of what you got, because there are people out there who can't see the sun coming out. They can't get out of their bed. They can't open a door. They can't brush their teeth. They can't, all the things that we can do that we don't really notice about it because we're just doing it. There are people out there who wish they had those things. So just don't just sit there and just act like you're supposed to have it, because sometimes it be taken away. But that's what I always say. Just think about the graveyard. That's about it.
Great advice.
Yes, indeed. Well, Steve, thank you again, man. You're a wealth of knowledge and just a joy to interact with. And this is good stuff, man. I appreciate what you're doing, and we'll make sure that we put this information out there for folks to see. And just as a reminder, more about Steve on YouTube and themanmindset.com. So definitely follow up and check out some of what he's got going on, because it's outstanding information.
We're hardcore though. I mean, I just want, we're not chicken soup for the soul. I just want to let you know, we're from the old school. We do things old school ways. It's not sunshine and rainbows. When it's time to learn, it's time to learn. You know, I don't goof off. So if you're coming, come be prepared with your notebook and be ready to learn and grow.
There you go.
Very cool. All right. Well, we're going to do our traditional sign off here. I don't know if you've seen this, but you can feel free to join in. We're all about enjoying a ride we call life.
All right.
So we'll wrap this thing up and just remind our folks that no matter who you are, where you are, or what you're doing, make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride. Thank you again, Steve.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.